Life at sea has always been unpredictable, unforgiving, and, well, often merciless. Sailors of the past faced storms, freezing nights, and decks slick with rain or seawater, yet they had to maintain fire for warmth, cooking, and signalling. Matches and simple flames were unreliable on wet decks. And yet somehow legendary sailors managed to keep fire alive in conditions that would extinguish ordinary flames instantly. This technique, often referred to as the lost sailor's fire method, relied on clever use of materials, airflow, and natural chemistry to ignite and sustain fire even in soaking conditions. Today we'll dive into how this method worked, why it was effective, and how modern survivalists or backyard enthusiasts can adapt it for emergencies or outdoor adventures. Why fire was a critical challenge for sailors. On a wet deck, conventional fire-starting methods often failed. Matches would become sodden, sparks from flint and steel could be blown away by gusts, and any attempt to light kindling directly on a wet surface was likely futile. Yet sailors needed fire constantly, not just for comfort, but for cooking meals, boiling water, and signalling nearby ships or coastal stations. Failure meant hunger, hypothermia, or isolation. In these extreme conditions, a method that could reliably ignite fire, regardless of moisture, became an indispensable skill passed down through generations. The genius of the lost sailor's fire method was its understanding of materials and environment. Sailors realized that the key was not just the spark or flame itself, but the medium that carried it. They discovered ways to protect tinder, amplify heat, and create mini-environments where combustion could occur even on wet wood or decks. How sailors prepared fire-resistant tinder and fuel. The heart of the method was in the preparation of specialized tinder. Sailors would collect fibrous materials like dried moss, fine shavings from softwoods, and sometimes even charred cloth or rope fibres. These fibres were then treated with substances like beeswax, pine resin, or animal fat to make them water-resistant. The result was tinder that could ignite even while damp and sustain a small flame long enough to light larger kindling. In practice, a sailor would arrange the prepared tinder into a small bundle, often shaped to shield it from wind and water. The fire was then initiated using flint and steel or friction-based tools. Because the tinder was impregnated with wax or resin, the initial sparks could ignite it instantly, creating a tiny but reliable flame that could be transferred to larger sticks or fuel. You know, why the method worked even on wet surfaces is pretty fascinating. The secret to the lost sailor's fire method was really the combination of insulated tinder, controlled airflow, and careful heat management. The wax or resin coating protected fibres from moisture and, well, increased flammability, while the bundle's shape trapped heat, allowing combustion to sustain itself. Sailors would sometimes create small windbreaks with pieces of metal, wood, or rope, focusing the flame and preventing gusts from extinguishing it. Moreover, sailors understood the importance of gradually transferring fire. They would first light the treated tinder, then use it to ignite slightly larger twigs or shavings that were sheltered from direct water exposure. By layering ignition this way, the flame grew steadily, eventually capable of sustaining cooking fires or warming small areas of the deck. So, how can this method be applied in modern survival or backyard scenarios? Well, modern survivalists, campers and backyard enthusiasts can adapt the lost sailor's method using accessible materials. Natural fibres like cotton, jute or dried moss can be treated with wax, fat or resin to produce water-resistant tinder. Small bundles can be prepared in advance and stored in waterproof containers. When conditions are wet or windy, these bundles can be ignited with ferro rods, flint and steel, or other spark-generating tools. For practical application, always start with a small protected area for the tinder. Place a few larger sticks around it, slightly raised above any wet surface, and gradually build up the flame. Using the layering principle of ignition, small water-resistant tinder first, followed by protected kindling and fuel, dramatically increases your chances of starting fire in challenging conditions. This method is particularly valuable for winter camping, rainy survival exercises, or emergency preparedness. This technique is more than historical curiosity. It's a timeless lesson in resourcefulness and adaptability. The Lost Sailor's Fire method also reinforces a principle applicable to all survival situations. Success often depends on preparing your environment as much as the tools you carry. If learning about this ingenious sailor's technique inspires you, subscribe to the channel and share this video. Preserving these historical survival methods ensures that the knowledge and skills of the past remain alive, equipping modern adventurers to face even the wettest, windiest conditions with confidence.